Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today I'm going to do a video on the best luxury cars you can buy for £20,000 or less. I love a nice luxury car. When you've had a miserable day at work, there's nothing better than jumping in your own little private limousine. You switch on the heated massaging seats and you waft home in your own little bubble. My mate Ollie over at Supercar Plates describes it as the opt-out look, and I can't think of a better way to describe it. It's a way of saying, I want my own space, leave me alone. Right, let's go shopping. Auto Trader it is then. We've got 450,000 cars to choose from, so let's narrow this down. Maximum price, £20,000, that should buy us a nice one. We'll search from £15,000, I think. We'll narrow this down even further. Automatic. Number of doors, 4. Perfect. Straight away I'm thinking the newer shape Mercedes S-Class, but there might be some others here that I've forgotten about. Right, let's start with Audi. Now, the first choice, obviously, is the Audi A8. I really like the A8. Look at this one, for example. So, this is a 2013 3-litre TDI V6 Sport Executive. I think that just looks the dog's what's-its. It's black and it's got the quilted black trim. That one's 18,970, which granted is quite a lot of money for a 2013 car, but it's only done 40,000 miles. They're all-wheel drive, they've got that Quattro system. The 3-litre turbo diesel V6 is quite frugal, to be honest. It'll do 35 miles per gallon average. I really like that. Every time I drive an A8, it just makes you feel like Jason Statham. Makes you feel like a mafia boss. If we look here at the running cost, it's only £265 in road tax, and it's better on fuel than I thought. So urban 35, it's probably more like 30, and extra urban 50. Probably more like 46, 48 to be fair. So about 40 combined, which is very good. Well, straight away we could more or less end the search there, couldn't we? Because I'd be quite happy with that. It's every time I look at cars like this, I think maybe I shouldn't have bought my Range Rover. I'd have been quite happy with 20 grand's worth of A8. So far, I think that Sports Executive one is the best one I've seen. A standard SE exec has got those boring wheels, which I know it doesn't really matter on A8, but I do prefer the rotor style alloys. So that one, for example, that one's a Sport, 2016, it's done 73, which is a bit higher on the miles. What a car. That looks wicked. It's in Daytona grey, I think. Such a nerd. It's got the quilted leather interior. It's got the lighter interior, which I don't mind that actually. Oh, they've got an old R129SL in as well. That one again looks very nice. I think I'd go with the lower mileage one. I think I'd go with the black one. So that's one option, the Audi A8. While we're on Audis, let me show you something else that you might not have thought about. In fact, no, that's not quite. I was going to show you an A7. In fact, let me show you an A7. That obviously is a 5-door, so we'll take that out. Again, I really like the A7. They're a bit sportier than the A8. So it's very similar, don't get me wrong, but you just got that sloping back, which I just think looks really good. What a car that is. 16 grand, I just think that's a bargain. It's done 60,000 miles, it's got head-up display, it's got the big rotor wheels, Quattro all-wheel drive. They can be a bit more expensive to maintain, but you've got a really decent car there. Look at that with its twin exhausts. Okay, so that's another option, the A7 or the A8. Both are great. What else have we got? Let's go back to 4-doors. Right. Well, alphabetically, we've got BMW next. So we've got the big 7 Series. Now, again, I don't know what I'd choose, to be honest. I'm a really big fan of the 7 Series as well. Oh, look at that. Okay, this isn't really a sensible choice, but we've got a 750, an E38 with a 5.4 litre V12. Yeah, it's not sensible at all, but that is the coolest thing ever. £20,000, but that's probably, done 83. It's not high mileage for one of those. I need to get hold of an E38, just so cool. Right, anyway, let's be a bit more sensible. See what happens when you start looking at cars. Now that sounds quite expensive, a 2011, so it's a 61, so it's a late registered 2011 car, and it's 17.5 grand, but it's only done 20,000 miles. So that will be like new, or it should be at least. I don't really like the front grille of the F-01. It's not a great looking car, that is it? That's not getting answered. But I think from that angle, it does look really smart. Ah, that one's the 740D. So it uses the same 3-litre straight-six turbo diesel engine, but yeah, it's higher horsepower, so it's 302. That's really nice, you know. Let's look at this interior then. If it's only done 20,000 miles, it should be like new. That's really clean, that. It's worth paying a premium, really, isn't it, for a low mileage car, always. Not as mint as I was expecting, to be fair, but I do like the pale interior against the dark exterior. That's nice as well. As I always say though, if you're going to run one of these cars, you need to keep a couple of grand back for any repairs, because that's got things like air suspension and they're just quite complicated, or more complicated than a 3 Series, so you will need some money in a rainy day pot. I think though, to be honest, if it were my own money, so far between the A8 and the 7 Series, I'd choose the A8. I just think that F-Zero 7 Series does looks a bit dated now, doesn't it? Don't you think? Right, I'm bored with that then. Apart from the E38, obviously. Ah, what about the 6 Series Grand Coupe? Now I love these. I've done a video with one in silver like that one actually. What a great looking car that is. So that's the 640D. Again, it uses a 3-litre straight-six turbo diesel engine, and those BMW diesel engines are bulletproof. They just pull like a train. That one's 309 horsepower, and it looks really clean in silver. They're less roomy than the 7 Series, but how often are you going to carry passengers, really? Unless you're buying it for a chauffeur car, of course. But for 17.5 grand, it's such a lot of car. I mean, it's done 91,000 miles, but if that's been maintained well, that wouldn't bother me in the slightest. If you continue to maintain it, it'll do twice that. So that's 2 of the Germans then. Ford? Don't think so. Definitely not. Mondeo? No. No, thank you. Right, now it gets interesting. Jaguar. My heart always says XJ, but then I don't know. I think, truthfully, I'd be happy with any one of these. Anything in that luxury category, I think you'd be quite happy. But if we look at something like, oh, you'll get the facelift model, won't you? Let's narrow this down then. So let's look at specifically XJs. Right. That is a 3-litre diesel luxury. Now, you don't really want to go for a luxury. You probably need a premium, no, not premium luxury. You need a portfolio. It's got heated steering wheel. You can thank me later. Or you need an R Sport. R Sport. It's a bit of a rubbish name, but they do look the part. Wow, that's expensive. Good luck selling that, pal. 15.5 grand. Not a chance. No wonder it's still for sale. Let's keep looking then. Ah, look at this one in red. Do you remember the video I did with this? I love that car. It had the black pack on it like that, so it just looks menacing, which is exactly how an XJ should look. So that's 17,995, and it's an 82. Now, the 3-litre diesel has a cam belt, which needs to be replaced at 105,000 miles or 8 years, so bear that in mind. You could go for a 5-litre petrol supercharged, which is, oh, there's one here. What are the chances? Now, I think they did a 5-litre naturally aspirated and a 5-litre supercharged. So, the difference is the horsepower. Let me show you this. Performance. Ah, so that one's a supercharged, so it's 503 horsepower. Look at that. I love that dash. I love how it wraps around. I remember sitting one of these for the first time at the 2012 LA Motor Show. I just thought it was the coolest thing. It still is. I just don't think that's aged a day. I mean, yes, you can have slightly higher running costs. This will only do maybe, well, let's have a look. 16, 17 round town. It'll do a touch more than that, because my Range Rover does that sort of figure. Or 32 on a run. Again, you'll probably do 34 on a run. It's not too bad. And you won't have any DPF issues or EGR issues. So if you can do a little bit of man maths there, you can talk yourself into a 5-litre. That red colour is so tempting though, isn't it? Of course, the 3-litre diesel is much cheaper. Look at that interior. The 3-litre diesel is much cheaper to tax as well. So the tax on that is only, yeah, $220 a year. So we've got the XJ. What's your other option? Ah, could you get an XJR? Oh, wow. Best example in the country, 1998 X308. Nearly forgot the model then. It's only done 31,000 miles. That is cool, isn't it? I think I'd rather have it in the Carnival Red that mine was, to be fair, but that does look very nice. Or a black one. Who's fancied a black one? With the parchment interior. Okay, so £20,000 won't buy you an X350. Need to brush up on my XJ model names, don't I? What else? So Mercedes-Benz. So the benchmark luxury car is the S-Class, and I love the S-Class. This should buy you the 2015 onwards model, like that, exactly like that. So that's 2014, 2015 model year. That's done 100,000 miles, but it's 18 grand. What a lot of car for 18 grand. There is actually a new shape S-Class which has just come out earlier on this year, but I still think that one looks great. So that's the 3-litre diesel, and it's got the new interior with the twin screens. That's a cool car. I'd happily drive something like that. And running costs, this will surprise you because it'll do 40 miles per gallon around town and 60 on a motorway run, and it's only £220 a year to tax. Again, keep a couple of grand to one side for a rainy day pot, and nothing should take you by surprise, really. I was behind one of these in traffic the other day, so I ran it through my little reg checker thing, and it looked really clean. It was a 2017 or 18, and it just looked like a really low mileage example. So I ran it through, expecting it to have done 40,000 miles, and it done 280,000 miles. So it's obviously a chauffeur car. But it just goes to show they can do the miles. I mean, look at this one, for example. This is a long wheelbase, and it's £20,000, and it's done 134,000 miles. What an imposing car. There's just something really cool about that. And 20 grand. You know what, by the end of this video, I'm going to end up buying one of these, aren't I? Sad. Oh, S600, look at that. Right, this is the previous shape, but it's an S600. So that uses a V12, 5.5 litre V12. I've never driven one of these, but I imagine it is just silent. It'd be like sitting in a library. That's really cool, that. Probably not the most sensible to run, to be fair. Whereas the 3-litre diesel is. I'd be really tempted to run one of those. Such a lot of car for the money. I think I'd want the S500L just because, well, just because. And that would still cost you about £30,000. I mean, look at that, 2014, done 75. SE line, you're better with an AMG line, to be honest, because they just look better. Look at the difference between that silver one and that grey one. Anyway, what else have we got? Right, sorry to interrupt, but I've got to say a big thank you to today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Surfshark. If you haven't heard of Surfshark, they're a VPN service provider. So basically they keep you safe while you're online, whether that's doing online banking or online shopping. Surfshark works to stop your data and your details being stolen by online cyber thieves. It encrypts all your details both to and from your devices, and it hides your IP address so cyber thieves can't view it. But here's what I mainly use Surfshark for. If you watch lots of streaming sites such as Netflix, but you're in a foreign country and your favourite TV show isn't available in that region, then with Surfshark you can change your country settings so that it thinks you're in a different region or territory. For example, if you're here in the UK but you want to watch your favourite American TV show which isn't available in the UK, all you do is go onto Surfshark, change your location settings so that it thinks you're in the US, and then, hey presto, it becomes available. In addition to that, it blocks malware, phishing, ads and other kinds of nastiness which in turn can speed up your bandwidth and make your device run much more smoothly. You can download the app very easily from the App Store and you can use it on an unlimited number of devices. We're all online a huge amount of time these days, you just don't know how much information you're putting out there, so it's better to stay protected. The last thing I want to do is have my credit card details stolen or my bank account hacked into, but since I've been using Surfshark, touch wood, that just hasn't happened. If you click the link below, which is surfshark.deals/hypecautos, you'll get 3 months totally free and 83% off. And it's not a big expensive commitment, it's about £1.50 a month. So if you shop online, do online banking, or just want to watch your favourite American TV show, then check them out. Right, back to luxury limos. You can buy a CLS. Now again, I love the CLS. The first generations look a little bit old-fashioned now, but the second generations I still think look really good. So look at that one, that's a 2015 done 92. Used the same 3-litre turbo diesel engine. Look how cool that is. It depends with the whole luxury car thing, because if you're planning to have passengers, then you really need the long wheelbase version of the flagship model. But if you're just driving it yourself, then you're probably better off with something like the CLS or the 6 Series. Oh, there's so much choice. Okay, right, I think that's enough Mercedes. Why has Nissan popped up? You could buy an Elgrand. Don't think so. Can we find a Toyota Century? No, we can't. Forget that then. Alpha, Audi, BMW. Can you buy a Bentley? This would be a financial accident waiting to happen, to be fair. I always say keep a couple of grand back, but I think you'd need 6 or 7 grand back for one of these. But then saying that, how cool's that? It's like the Bentley version of the Silver Shadow. 17 grand. If I had an old manor house somewhere, I'd just buy one of those and float around in that. Maybe one day. That's so cool. Right, let me be more sensible. So, realistically, for under £20,000, you're going to be looking at a Continental Flying Spur or an Arnage. I mean, look at that. That's a 2002 Bentley Arnage. That is just timeless, isn't it? It's regal, that. I mean, it's a 20-year-old Bentley, so you're going to be into big bills, unfortunately. But so cool. Forget that, that's a bad idea. Even I know that's a bad idea. That's probably not a bad idea, though. 2006, 55, so it's cheaper road tax. Not that that kind of matters in this world, but it's only done 24,000 miles. 24,000 miles, look at that. That will be like new. Oh, yes. 6-litre W12, four-wheel drive. Oh, yes. Steering wheel from a Touareg, buttons from an old Jetta. It doesn't really matter though, does it? It's a Bentley. That's cool. That's really tempting, you know. What would you have? Would you have that or the newer S-Class? I think I'd have the newer S-Class, you know. Something with Bluetooth media streaming and sat-nav, which actually shows the M6 on it. Okay, so that's a bad idea. Forget I said that. Chrysler, definitely not. Daimler, no. Ford, Fiat, Dodge, nope. Honda, Hyundai, Infiniti, no. Jeep, Jaguar, we've done that. Kia, Lexus. Now we're talking. Let's buy an LS. Why is there only one LS? Okay, right. No, that's nothing like I asked for, was it? There's one LS here at £19,495. It's a 2013 LS 460 F Sport. Now, the trouble with Lexus, it's kind of their only issue. They just don't look the best, do they? That doesn't look, in my mind, as good as a S-Class Mercedes or an Audi A8. It just doesn't. I know it'll be more reliable and everything else, but that grille's are just a bit odd. A big limousine like this is supposed to be stately and gentlemanly and dignified, and that isn't. It's too over-styled, too Japanese. Forget that. Let's see if we can find a previous generation LS600H. Now we're cooking. Now these are getting on a bit in age, but there's nothing quite like driving one of these. It's got a 5-litre V8 under the bonnet, plus a hybrid battery system and an electric motor. So it is deadly quiet. Don't expect the running costs of a Prius, but they're not bad. I think they're all long wheelbase as well. Has it got the rear media pack? Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. So you've got a TV screen there, reclining rear seats. Something really cool about that. Heated steering wheel. You can even put it in EV mode. It'll probably only get you 3 miles, but still. Let's talk about running costs then. So it'll do 25 miles per gallon around town and 35 on a run. And £350 a year to tax. It's quite a lot of money for an 11-year-old car though, isn't it? But they are rare. So an LS is an option. Maserati. You could buy a Quattroporte, couldn't you? I was really impressed with that one that I did a video with recently. I mean, yes, the build quality isn't the best, but it's so pretty. Look at that. And you get a key which says Maserati on it. Imagine throwing that on a bar. Mazda, Mercedes, Mitsubishi, Renault, no. Peugeot, Nissan, no. Can you buy a Rolls Royce for 20 grand? Not a very nice one. Oh, look at the Silver Shadow. I love the Silver Shadow. It's got to be a Shadow 2, really, in my mind. So cool, isn't it? I think I've watched a bit too much To the Manor Born when I was a kid. Saab, no. SsangYong, They do something called a SsangYong Chairman. They don't make it in the UK, but in fact, let me try and Google it. I'm sure it's called a SsangYong Chairman. Wait till you see this. It's like an S-Class rip-off, basically. So it looks pretty similar to, well, it's like a cross between a Maybach and a S-Class, isn't it? Anyway, we don't get them in the UK. The Chairman, who thought of that name? Next up is the SsangYong I'm the Boss. Toyota, can we find a Toyota Century? No, we've already looked at this, haven't we? We're running out of options here, folks, aren't we? Vauxhall, they don't do such a thing. Volkswagen. The only option here is the Phaeton. Why can't I see the Phaeton? It's such a rare car, the Phaeton, there probably isn't one between the 15 and 20 grand mark. Let's change our parameters slightly then. There we go, right. There's one. There's one single Phaeton. So that is a 2015 on a 64. They do look cool, don't they? Not sure I'd choose it over the A8 though. As shallow as this sounds, I think. Well, it's not just the badge. I do prefer the badge and the exterior styling, but I prefer the interior of the A8 as well. It's more cosseting. Everything's kind of within easy reach, and the Phaeton isn't like that. It is a cool car though, that. That is 14 grand. So that's another option. But no, I think I'd stick with the A8. Volvo, right. You've got a couple of options here. You've got either an S80, of which there are only two, or an S90. Take something like this, for example. It's a 2.5 D5. This isn't, it's not the last word in luxury, but it is a big, comfortable limousine, really. 2.5 D5 SE Lux Geartronic. They are great to drive. It's a bit like driving a boat. You're better off though with the S90. I mean, look at that, for example. That one's done 132. Can we find... Oh, there we go. This one's for sale with Mercedes-Benz of Huddersfield. So it's a 2018 2-litre D4R design Geartronic. They're great cars, these. They have the autonomous steering feature. They've just got loads of kit with them. And really sensible running costs. Again, though, it's not... It's luxurious to a point, but it's not really a luxury car, is it, that? I just thought I'd give you an option. Well, I think that's about it. If you've got any better suggestions, then let me know in the comments below. So thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'll leave the link below. If you've got any comments or questions, let me know below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. So yeah, cheers guys. I'll see you next time.